Hello, everybody. Smith here from the St. John's Boosters Business Association in St. John's, Portland, Oregon, coming to you live. So it is a rainy Friday here in St. John's. Not a surprise. We have had a pretty wet fall and winter, so we're used to that. And the good thing is, a lot of our businesses who are food and beverage have covered outdoor patios that are heated, so it shouldn't stop anybody from doing what they like. And of course, if you're in the comfort of your own home, you can order takeout, delivery. We're going into the weekend, so of course, meals are probably on everybody's brain, and oh boy, we have so many ways to get great meals in our district. I'm excited to be here today. This is a series called I Am a Small Business, and this was started by a social media campaign by Venture Portland that looked a lot like this. This piece of paper is getting a little worn and torn, isn't it? I've got to print out a new one. So really what it does is highlight not only businesses and nonprofits, but the people that run them, the people that staff them, reminding you that when you're supporting somebody in St. John's, you're also supporting a family, a neighbor. That word neighbor comes up a lot, and we are all neighbors in this community. We are a community that is on the peninsula. So, quite a ways away from the hustle and, well, not so much the hustle and bustle right now, but the hustle and bustle of downtown. And that actually provides us with a lot of assets like beautiful natural areas. So now you can go get takeout and go sit in one of our beautiful parks, or you could shop online while you're, in the comfort of your home. We've been very adaptable in this new normal, and I'm really excited to be here as always. And if you're going to shelter in place, I can't imagine a better place to do it. So I am just pulling up my iPad right now. I have a couple of community announcements. This is specifically for businesses. Hang on one second. Of course, it doesn't want to open right now. So I wanted to tell you about two upcoming webinars that are happening. One is with Bricks Need Mortar, and they are doing a talk for business owners with Sam Adams. Sam Adams is now newly working with the mayor and has done a lot of outreach to business districts and businesses. And on March 11th, I'll show you right here, they're doing Portland Small Businesses in Conversation with Sam Adams. So looks like that's from our newsletter that we sent out this morning. And you can sign up for that at bricksneedmortar.com. They do a lot of really great things for businesses, and they were created in the pandemic. Sarah Scholl, who is one of the founders, was our guest speaker at our general meeting, and she told us all of the amazing things that they are doing and continue to do to support small businesses in this very difficult time, and we completely appreciate what they do. And then Venture Portland, who I mentioned before, is just announced that they're having a free webinar called How to Activate Your Business's Street and Sidewalk at Venture Portland's upcoming webinar. And Bridget from PBOT is going to be there talking about creating safe outdoor spaces. And that looks kind of like that. And, we've had some businesses who've had great success with this, some who might be considering it for this year, but it's a great way to hear experiences from other businesses, as well as some tips and tricks for how to do this successfully. So this is exciting day today because my guest is Jade from Maven Muse Media. And Jade and I are both social media content creators. So I think this is the first time I've had somebody that does the exact same job that I do. And I think it's going to be really fun because, of course, like everybody who does social media is different and does it differently. And I can't wait to talk with Jade and just find out a little bit more about her background. Just so you guys know, so you have at least two social media content creators in St. John's, and you'll get to speak with them in just a moment. So Jade, I can see you out there in the audience. If you would just request to join, I will let you in the room and we can get started on our conversation. I'm just going to have a little sip of my coconut water here in my St. John's Bazaar cup. we are looking forward to the return of the St. John's Bazaar next year. Keeps it nice and cold. I love these collector's item cups. All right. My throat gets really dry on rainy days. I don't know why that is. All right. So I see Jade requesting. I'm going to view the request, and we are going. There we go. Hello. So, it was with most business owners, we have that little scary moment where they are not sure that it's going to work or they haven't used the technology before. And this is the first time I'm like, oh my gosh, Jade's got this. You've done Instagram lives before, it works. And just like with everything in social media, you just have to try it. Like we're not all like technical geniuses, and the technology is changing all the time. So you just have to like take a leap, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but it's all okay.
Yeah, totally. You got to put yourself out of your comfort zone and just go for it.
Exactly. Well, I'm so interested in finding out more about your background because, if people of a certain age, if you're a social media content creator, chances are that wasn't your first job because it didn't exist when we had our first jobs, right?
100%.
So I know that I came out of college and I went to go work at like a clothing showroom in New York and ended up in like fashion and textiles for 20 years. And certainly I knew what marketing was, and we had a lot of marketing, but I certainly didn't imagine I would be holding something in my hand and be able to like push out content, or that was something I could do. So
Right.
yeah. So tell me a little bit about you. What was your life like before social media?
So, I have a degree in marketing, so I kind of went into that. But when I was going to college, like Facebook was just university to university. Like the public wasn't even allowed on it. It was just colleges connecting with colleges.
Oh,
So
right. Okay.
that was insane. But yeah, I did, print and all of that stuff in the beginning. And then I had a side hustle with my full-time job of selling vintage. And then Facebook went public with everyone could be on. And then Instagram came, and I was selling stuff off of social before it could make it to my website. And then businesses saw that and they were like, how are you doing that? Teach me. And
that's right, because no one knew. There was no like, you learn things in school like typing and computer skills, and now they teach social media, but I certainly didn't learn it in school.
Yeah, all my stuff was like trial and error, styling photos, figuring it out. How do I do that? And then when people were coming to me and asking me how to do it, I thought, is this actually a thing? Like, yes. I made this job up.
Right. Is this a thing? Like teaching this thing is a thing.
Yeah, I have a made-up job.
Right. I saw your post on it. I thought that was so brilliant. A made-up job. That's what it felt like to me when I first started too. I was working at a startup, and it was it was on social media. It was like two different dishes from two different restaurants would be pitted against each other. But the two restaurants had to have active Facebook pages in order for it to even work. Yeah. And then we discovered like so many of them either didn't have a page, or they didn't know how to set it up or do or they didn't have time to do the content. And then I was like, that's a thing. Like they kept asking me, can you help me do this? Like, I'll pay you extra. And I'm like, you'll pay me for that?
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder if there's others like you, And
and there are.
How much, I remember in the beginning being like, how much do I charge for this? I have no way to like measure this in the industry. So, but I wanted to pick your brain on this because I like social media. Like I like doing my own social media. I enjoy it. A lot of times with clients, they just hate it. They don't want to be on it. They don't want to like deal with it. So sometimes I say to people, it's not that you can't do it, because I think everyone can do it. I mean, I have a job that I literally think everyone can do, but you have to like it and want to do it.
Yeah.
Do you find that too?
Yeah, totally. I think the thing that I run into the most with businesses and clients is that you're stuck in your business all the time, and so you're so wrapped into it that you think no one cares what I'm doing.
Right.
How do I talk about it? So it's like when you bring that outside person in and that outside perspective, then you realize you do have a story to tell and there is stuff that people are interested in. And yeah, you just got to get out of your own way sometimes and just bring in another perspective to figure out your story.
And yeah, that's a really good point about the stories. I find with people too, they don't mind telling other people's stories, but when it comes to like pointing the camera at themselves, they're uncomfortable or they don't like it, or like you said, they don't think anyone cares. And
Yeah.
always have to tell people, no, that's what they care about the most.
Mm-hmm.
They want to know you. They want to know who they're buying from. And, you know, it's interesting to them. They want to feel close to you. Like, oh, I bought this from my friend XYZ at this store. You know, that feels good to people. Or even the pretend knowledge that you know somebody. That's why celebrities do so well. You know, so many celebrities are doing like these Instagram lives and stuff now, and they do so well because people just want a window in. They're like, oh, this is a real person, and I
Yeah.
like that they support some things that I have, you know, values in as well. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's totally all about, yeah, that human connection. And yeah, you know, like every time you buy from a small business owner, you're actually supporting a human.
Yes.
So like, you're helping them live their life and like send their kids to ballet, like maybe now virtual ballet or whatever, but like you're helping them live their life.
And oftentimes your help, it's so interesting to me because I always talk about keeping the dollars local. So it's like, you know, say you go buy, you know, an outfit, you know, at one of our boutiques. Well, that business owner might use that to take their partner out for, you know, a beer and a burger, so supporting another small business, right? It just keeps it circulating. And I think that is such a cool concept. Whereas if you're buying something at a big online site, it's going to a big pot that we never see, or people that we never see. You know, it's not, and I'm not trying to like disparage like all big business. It's not all bad, but when you do have a choice, it's like, well, I need X. If you can get it locally, it makes so much more of an impact than if you don't.
Totally. Yeah, that's like the biggest thing that I kind of tell clients is that when you invest in me, the money you pay me, I invest in other small businesses, like buying gifts for future clients or buying gifts for my family. Like it's a cycle. And like if I'm asking you to believe in me, I'm gonna believe in you, you know, and show you, give you money, and like
it feels good. The other thing I thought was interesting when I first started in social media. So I came from, like, you know, as I said, fashion and textiles, where you sort of kept your trade secrets to yourself. Like you didn't share those with other people because we were always afraid of getting knocked off. It's like, oh, they'll knock us off and we need to be first to market with this. So I came in with the mindset that you keep all your tricks and tips to yourself. But then when I met other social media marketers later, it was like, no, there's enough work to go around. You don't need to be secretive about it. In fact, you need to be collaborative about it and help each other. And I'm like, oh, I like this. I like this kind of environment. It's like, you know, everyone needs social media. And then I find people have sort of specialties, like they do these kind of businesses better than others, or they like this size of business. You know, I've done like very big companies and I've done very small ones, and I find I happen to like small independent stores, or like middle, you know, ones. I don't know. It's always evolving. How about you? Do you have like a particular kind of client you like to work with or you gravitate towards?
So I gravitate.
Yeah, I know. I'm like,
so I gravitate more towards women-owned businesses, and then businesses that are past the startup phase. So you've kind of figured out what you want, and you know where you want to go, and so now it's just like getting you to that next level. But yeah, I've worked with all different kinds, sizes, and I mean, my passion is people who are passionate about their business. Like if you are into it and you want to grow this thing and have everyone know about you, I am here for you.
I totally 100% hear you on that. And I think a really key point of that, and I think you and I have talked about this before, is oftentimes people will be starting their company and they haven't figured anything out yet, but they want to hire a social media manager. And I've been in this with companies where they're like, what colors do you think I should use? And I'm like, I can it's not really my job. I can't tell you. And it's actually, you would have to pay me more for all this extra consulting that I'm
Yeah.
doing. So figure that out, figure out everything, get some social media posts out there, and then let's talk. And then I can help you push it out, because you're going to be so busy taking care of your business. You're not going to have time for this, but do
Yeah.
figure it out beforehand, because I'm not going to succeed for you if you don't know what you want me to post.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing that I have when I, am talking to a new client or something is, what's the goal?
Yeah.
Like you have your brand colors figured out, you have your messaging kind of nailed down, but essentially I'm your ghostwriter. So
Exactly.
I am here to pump your content out, but you have to have the foundation and I will decorate the walls.
Oh, I love that. That's perfect. That's perfect.
Your house
Yeah.
has to be built and I will
Yep.
come in and decorate it and tell the world about you.
And I'll keep that the coat of paint fresh.
Yeah.
It'll just be fresh paint all the time. You won't have to worry about it. But
Yep.
you have to have decided on the paint color first.
Yep. Yep. I'm here to help you, not like do your business.
Exactly. And I think business owners are so overwhelmed when they're first starting. They just want any kind of help, but it's actually, I feel, important for them to go through the process of figuring that out first, because I've seen so many brands where they sort of do a soft push and it's not really figured out, and there's not really a logo, and it's not consistent, and their social media reflects that. It's like, it's just not a strong presence. It looks like a personal account. And, it's that delicate balance between professionalism, but also showing something personal. And I always tell clients, like, don't forget to show your face. And if you don't want to show your face, show your hands doing something. Yeah. Show me something in the moment. Bring me into your environment so I feel like I'm there, or make me aspire to want to be there,
Yeah. And the easiest part to do that now is like stories, do
Yes.
a video of yourself. It expires in 24 hours. It doesn't live forever. So
that's right.
Get people to know who you are. Because like when I walk into your business, I want to know who the owner is or who the employees are. And I want to, be able to say, oh my gosh, what you're doing on social translates into your actual brick and mortar store. Like, that's awesome.
And I love that's one thing I love about social, is the real-time aspect, because websites are great for holding now, a lot of people's product or information, the hours and all that kind of stuff. Websites are wonderful for that, but they don't show you that day-to-day experience. And that's what you use your social for. It's like, oh my gosh, it's a beautiful day. We just rearranged the shelves and now we got this new product in. I mean, it's amazing. You get to go into people's wherever they are. And I love that. And, it took me so long to embrace the stories. Everybody always thinks I'm a technical person because I do social media. No, not. I have to feel it. I have to be like, I get this. Once I started doing the stories though, and understanding how they work, oh my gosh, I can't stop doing the stories now. They're actually, and I tell my clients this too, you can do the stories. It's so easy. You just click the button and you can put stickers on it. You don't even have to write a lot of copy. A lot of people hate writing copy. I'm like, yeah. You're just sharing something really temporary and in the moment. It's awesome.
Totally. And the other thing is people are not reading all your copy. So
no,
we're dealing with such a tiny attention span that if you write this huge long caption, I can guarantee you people are not going to read the whole thing.
Yeah, they read the top.
Yeah.
And I also tell people, if you're going to do a long caption, make sure the first part of it's really good. And if you have a call to action, have it up there.
Yeah.
Because they're not, yeah, you're right. I mean, some people will, and they, maybe they're super interested in whatever this organization is, but most people are just glancing through it. It's like, there's a word for people who post articles that they haven't read. They only read the headline. I forget what the term is, but a lot of people do it. They're like, oh, that's great. I need to share that. And they're thinking I'm going to go back and read it later. And it's like, yeah. They never read it. They just think it's important.
Yeah. It's total clickbait.
Yeah. That total clickbait. Yeah. Yep. And that goes to that's a skill set that, good social media content creators have, is that sort of catchy conversational type of tone that is professional, but again, feels like, oh, I want to read this, or I want to take this action, or this was done by a real person and not, a company. I remember too, when social media, companies started emerging, a few people that I knew tried them, and they were like, wow, the person who's doing this has never set foot in my business. Like they're just doing stock photos with like very generic language just to create, like I call it filler content. And they were like, wow, I don't think they understand my business. And I'm like, they don't. They've never experienced your business. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And then that translates to people consuming your content. So they can see how inauthentic it is. And, you know, it doesn't feel warm and cozy. Like it should feel warm and cozy. You should have the same experience on social that you would have walking into someone's business.
That's a really good point.
That's just how I operate from that standpoint of, you know, if you meet me in person, I'm going to be the same as I am on this live.
I love that. I think that's great. That's how I feel like I probably feel like I know you better than I do, because I follow your social on your business page is so good. I am terrible about doing my social on my business page, so don't ever look at mine. It's awful. But yours is so good because it's you, but it does have a very much a business slant to it, which I love, but it doesn't feel like you're overselling to me. It feels like you're just like, this is who I am. Let me share this with you. And that's the thing too. You want to hire somebody that you want to work with. You know, it's like, it's every day. It's a lot. So you want to like feel like you jive with that person. I think that's an important element to it. And again, when you go to one of the, and I'm not saying that the marketing companies are bad, they're not, and that's sometimes all people need. However, it could change people, you know, over the course of time. You might not get to choose who you work with, and that changes again the cadence and the flavor of what those posts look like. And oftentimes those generic posts just don't get engagement. Sometimes companies don't care though, they just want to have a presence. So like you said, the goal is the important thing. If you just want a present and you want content, you know, just hire someone who's just gonna fill that in. I don't even want to do that kind of content. It's boring to me, right? So, but if you want to truly like engage with your with whoever your audience is that you're trying to reach, that's the other thing I wanted to talk to you about is like, I think it's important, and I always ask clients, who are your audience? Who am I talking to? You know, because they'll be like, well, there's this person and this other person. I'm like, who is your like ideal audience? Because I want to be talking to that person all the time. The other people might be there too, but I want to know who your ideal person is. Who are we trying to reach? And that takes some conversation.
Yeah, because that's one of the first questions again that I ask when I'm, you know, on a discovery call or whatever is like, who are we talking to? And most of the time it's like everybody.
Nope.
No, it's not everybody.
Yep. Because you want those like repeat customers, or you want those, you know, who you want to build relationships with like your core audience. And the other ones, they're probably there too. They may be there, they may not be, but you want that core audience to really feel taken care of.
Yeah, because when you have that core, then they are talking about you on their social.
Exactly.
You know? Or they're telling their friends, you know, on a phone call, or they're gifting someone your product. Like that's who you want. Like everyone is not your buyer or anything. It's not everybody.
It's not everybody. Even though you might get a smattering of people, and that's fine. You just have to. And you know, I talk about that when I do like webinars on how to do social media, like finding your voice, you know, and thinking about that ideal person. So maybe they're 65 and older, their main news sources, OPB, you know, think about crafting the voice in that type of tone, because that's how they like information delivered. You know, maybe they don't like a lot of acronyms, you know, like that's going to be confusing to them because that's something more of a 20 to 30-year-old might be familiar with, but your core isn't. So make sure you spell those things out, you know, so that it's, and the 20 to 30-year-olds could read the spelled out one just as easily as an acronym. So you're not excluding anybody. You're just making sure you're including who you want to take that action.
Right. And then the other thing is like understanding that not every you don't need to be on every single platform.
Yes, I know. Yeah,
you know,
totally.
Like you don't need to. If you're, you know, if you are again advertising to 60 plus people, chances are they're not hanging out on Instagram all the time.
Yep, that's right. They're just not. So
Yeah, they're just
why
not.
waste your time? You know, just
Mhm.
I always tell people like, because they get worried. They're like, do I need to be on like Pinterest, Twitter? I'm like, no. If especially if you're starting out, pick one, just one, and get really good at it. And if you want to expand later, do that, but be really good at the platform that you chose and choose it mindfully to make sure your target audience is there.
Yeah, and again, it just totally comes down to your target audience. Like, where are they? Where do they shop? What are they listening to? All of that.
Yep. It's interesting. About Instagram, and here we are, because I spent a lot of time choosing, like, how am I going to do these interviews where, I talked about at one time doing them on Crowdcast or doing them on Facebook Live. But I think we've gone the way of so many people. We get so much more engagement on Instagram. It's where I focus most of my time. I mean, it just is Instagram and like email. Those are where we reach people. So, and I thought about like, I don't know if I can ask people to go to yet another platform, sign up for it, see an interview. Like they're not,
They're not going
they
to
have
do
no
it.
reason to,
Yeah.
right? We're already here.
Yep.
They're already here. So I may as well just give this to them here.
Right. And like, as far as platforms go, I mean, we live in Portland, so Portland is not so much Facebook friendly as they are
Yep.
Instagram friendly. Whereas,
Yep.
like, if you were in the Midwest, you would
Yep.
focus on Facebook, or,
Yep.
We're on the West Coast, we're all Instagram and Twitter. Facebook is like our third priority. So it just, as much as it is like a age and demographic kind of thing, it also is regional.
It's regional, and it also has to do with like the time. So, with all the political upheaval that we had, in the last couple of years, I found more people shifting to Instagram just to get away from the noise.
Yes.
And so I was thinking too, I want to be on a place where people are already in a pretty good mood. I don't want to be trying to compete for like, you're reading this like doom scrolling article and you're like, hey, I'm on Facebook Live. Like, I'm never going to win that. Plus, it's so hard to get posts seen on Facebook these days without paying for it. And I just always advise, I almost always advise my clients, let's not pay for it. Let's go to a platform where they're engaging already,
Right, because you want that organic engagement, because then you're hitting your core. You're talking to the right people when you have all that organic engagement.
Do you remember in the beginning when you had to like pay to get likes and things, like that was a thing, like you wanted to pay to get those likes, and then people realized it's casting such a wide net that it's attracting people who are never going to go to your store or use your service. Like they're in some other country, some far away, which isn't a bad thing if you have a worldwide thing. But most of the clients I had certainly were very like local and specific. So, but they're like, oh my gosh, we need more people. We need more people. And it was learned over time. It's like, no, you want real people. Like, let's build that over time. Let's not just get numbers. That doesn't mean anything. But ROI was a thing. Oh my gosh, in the last years, and people are like, "What's the ROI?" And I'm like, I don't know. We can see how much engagement we had, but really, it's like if people are, enjoying the content, if they're keeping you top of mind, if your sales are pretty good, there's some that's measurable and some that's really not.
Yeah, I mean, the ROI is, whatever the goal is. So do we want, how much sales do we want?
Right.
You can totally do that. And then I also tell people, like, and buying followers is still a thing, but don't do it.
Yeah, right. It is still a thing. Don't do it.
Don't do it. So, like, I tell people, okay, 30 people liked your post. If 30 people walked into your store at that moment, you would be completely overwhelmed.
Right.
You would be overwhelmed. You're mad that only 30 people saw it, or liked it or whatever. But if 30 people walked into your business at the same time, you would be like, what?
Right. Right. 30 people is a lot of actual people.
Yeah. I mean, online it's not.
Right. I know.
People, but it's like, you're reaching people, guys. You're reaching people.
Totally. And if they share it, if the content's good enough for them to share it, they just did your marketing for you.
Yeah.
That's
user generated content is the dream.
The dream. I know. That's why we as like content creators we want to make our content so good that people want to share it. That's always my challenge. It can't be like, they can take action on it, but I know that I've done a good job when someone like shares it, especially if somebody doesn't often share it. You know, it's like, wow, they shared this content. So I have to remember what I did there because that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's always, yeah, businesses, check your insights. You know, if you want to figure out what's working for you, just click on the insights and it's going to tell you what people want to hear from you.
Exactly.
You don't have to keep guessing and be on this struggle bus of what kind of stuff should I post. Like,
right.
people are telling you. They are telling you what they like.
Isn't that great? You don't get, and that's what you don't get from the in-person experience. Someone might walk in, look around and leave, and you never know what they thought. Like you have no idea.
No.
Right. But you get the chance to get comments and, you know, action taken or just to just remind people that you're there. And I wanted to ask you like how your business changed during COVID, because for me, like we're uniquely set up to work from home anyway. Yeah. So that part didn't really change, but it was more like, how do we market now? Like, how are we going to handle this transitions? And also for me, I have a lot of clients or had clients in the Bay Area who were going through just, you know, trauma from not knowing whether they could keep their business, having to let the employees go. So I lost a ton of clients like in the first week. Yeah. And that was really shocking to me. I was like, and I understood why, but I was like, this is not good. And I was a little scared. What was it like for you?
Kind of the same. I mean, I understand that like the first thing to go when business budgets are tight is marketing. And yeah. I 100% understand that. But then it's like, then you have to step in and do that yourself, you know? And so that's yes. more time you're taking out of your day that you're actually not doing your business.
Yep.
I never thought I would write so much about a virus in my entire life.
Yes.
I never thought that I would be setting up so many web stores.
Yeah.
But I'm super grateful for it. And I mean, some of my clients, we just went head first. I mean, I'd been shouting from the roof for 2 years, let's get our web stores in order. Let's set up an online store. And then people just were dragging their feet. And then finally they were like, oh, I should do that.
Yeah. Or and like, oops, I'm behind now.
Yeah. And I mean, one of my businesses, she expanded during a pandemic because we just set all that up in the beginning, like when we thought it was only going to be 2 weeks. And, you know, she opened an actual store, which was, which was the 5-year goal of the marketing plan. And she did it in 18 months. So of bringing me on. So it was like, you just got to like think outside the box and just go for it, you know?
I've noticed it's pushed a lot of people in directions they might have been thinking of really fast. Yes. Or even having them question, like, do I want to be in this business anymore? And I think, you know, it's not like an upside because nobody wants to have gone through this. However, I've seen some really good things come out of it. Oh. And it's like, wow, once we come out of it now, that fabulous website you made isn't going to go away. Now you have 2 ways to sell to people and you're reaching people outside the regional area that you were selling in before.
Yeah, I mean, so many good ideas have come out through this. I mean, delivery, I mean, all of the different delivery services, you know, stores that weren't doing like online order and pick up in store. I mean, brilliant. Yep. You know, moms or people with kids like that can't get out of the car. Yeah, small businesses doing curbside delivery, like, or curbside pickup like Target. I'm here for it. I don't want to get out of my car sometimes, and I don't even have kids.
Like grocery delivery, I'm like, how did I live without this before? This is pretty awesome.
Yep.
Cocktails to go. Okay. Yeah. Let's keep that. Let's keep that around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I love that too. And it's interesting with like events. I used to go to a lot of events, but I find now when I go to an event that's attached to like a product, say it's like a book event, I just go and buy the book like during the event. Like I'm taking the action really fast, you know? Mm-hmm. Or the other thing is like, there's some events that something might have happened. I got busy during the day and I would just not go to. It's pretty easy for me to go to most events now because they're online. So the problem that happens with that, of course, is like the Zoom fatigue. But at the same time, like I've been able to like do a little art class here and there, or like attend a singing lesson here and there where I probably wouldn't have done that in my before life, you know, not that variety of stuff. But it is definitely challenging. And how are you feeling now? Like now that we've been in it for a year?
Ugh, I
I
mean,
know, exhausted like me.
I mean, there was a while there where I was saging my feed before I would get on. Like, what is happening?
That's a good idea.
Um, I feel pretty okay. I mean, I feel like a lot, like you said, a lot more people had these plans, and then they were just dragging their feet of going online or branching out to different areas. And I think that just everyone just moved through that terror barrier and just went
Yeah.
for it. And
Yeah.
I feel like the confidence level between the business owners that did that is awesome. And I
Yeah.
want that to keep going, and I want to nurture that and have the world know about what they're doing.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. That's good. Now, I wanted to ask you, are you from the Midwest? I think we talked about this, but I forgot.
Yeah, can't you hear
I
my
can totally hear
accent?
your accent, and I was going to ask if you can hear mine. Because I'm from Chicago. And
That's
so
where
when I,
I'm from.
oh, that's so, oh, doo 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 doo. I was like, did I forget to ask? Because I kind of knew you were from the Midwest. So that's so funny. So not only do you guys have two social media content creators, we're both from Chicago. Wow.
Yeah,
And we
Chicago.
both live in St. John's. Like that's pretty funny.
Well, I think that that's how I ended up in St. John's, is because Chicago is so neighborhood oriented,
Yes,
and
totally.
like it's just yeah, St. John's just is a community, and I feel we just kind of support each other.
Yep.
Whereas other neighborhoods in Portland, I don't necessarily feel that, but here it's like Chicago
It's
mentality.
like Chicago. It really reminded me, we lived in San Francisco before this, and we've lived like on the East Coast also. And this is the first place when I came here, I felt like I was at home. Not only because there was like a lot of bungalows, which remind me of Chicago, but
Yep.
just the neighborliness. And that's what I remember from being a kid. Like, if you need something, you go next door.
Yeah.
And there's block parties. And when you go into town, it takes forever because you run into everyone you know.
Yep.
And I love that. It makes me happy. And especially during the pandemic, I did not feel alone. I felt isolated in some ways, but would see my neighbors and we'd like talk across the porches.
Yeah.
And, if I ran out of food or something, or when we were during the ice storm, like I could go next door and, hide out over there. Like, I love that part of it.
Yeah, or if someone knows that you're going through something, they're going to drop a casserole at your door
Yep.
or bring you a bag of groceries. That's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing I love the most about St. John's is people just care about people.
Yep. And I think that gives me like a deep need. Yeah, I have clients all over, but my ones in St. John's, I want my businesses to succeed because I want this to be made up of businesses, small businesses that are all neighbors, with that value system, making this place stay the way it is in terms of, there's going to be change, obviously, but just the culture of it. That's why I live here. We could live anywhere. We could live back in the Midwest. I don't think I'd want to, but I love it, but I think it's
Yeah.
nice I love the Pacific Northwest. Yeah, but just that feeling, it's amazing. And everybody I have interviewed, all the business owners, nonprofits, have said how much they've felt supported during the pandemic. And that's just music to my ears.
Yeah. I mean, like that's the number one thing I think that I've heard is, how I've shouted out so many small businesses and whatever. And it's, if you don't exist, I don't exist.
Yeah,
You
right.
know?
Exactly.
Like,
That's exactly right. Or I would go do something else. Like I would
yeah.
do a different career.
And I don't want to. I mean, I want to shop local and support other
Yep.
people's lives and people achieving their dreams and sharing their stories. That's my purpose.
Exactly. I am so with you on that. Well, so how, I'm trying to think. So I have a little bit more visibility just with the volunteer work that I do. So people also know I do social media, but they see me in other capacities. So I'm kind of out there. How do people find you? Like, how do you find your clients? Or if there's somebody on here listening now that maybe wants to work with you, how would they go about doing that?
Yeah, so a lot of the ways that I find that clients find me is word of mouth,
Okay.
um, or a lot of people have found me on Instagram. But yeah, totally. If you want to work with me, go to mavenmusemedia.com. You can fill out the contact form. We can have a 20-minute get to know you session and see how I can help you. Yeah. And then, I mean, there's this cool new app called Clubhouse. On Wednesdays, I do kind of office hours.
Oh, yeah, I need to check that out. I just got onto Clubhouse and I'm still like, I'm in the like, I don't know. I'm gonna see how this turns out. But since I know you're there and you're doing something, I'll tune in.
Cool. Yeah. So on Wednesdays on Clubhouse, if you're on it, I do kind of an office hours like you would have had with your professor in college. You can bring whatever questions to the group and we kind of
that's so good.
Yeah,
I love it. I love professor hours. I was always the one like, can I go next? So yeah. I think creating those virtual, like, that's why I like this, because it's like, you know, you and me, it's like our talk show, but we're not, you know, next to each other. But I think like you're on your couch, I'm on my couch, like, you know, it's our talk show. And I like that created in-person experience kind of thing. So that's a really smart thing to do. Plus it's nice that people can like ask you the burning questions that maybe they're not trying to hire somebody. They just like, they have no one to ask. Yeah. And then I feel like when you offer those kind of things, it makes you better because you're like, oh, I have to think about, you know, this thing or that thing, or lots of people are tending to have this problem or that problem or whatever.
Yeah, because it's like, if I keep getting the same kind of question over and over, then I know I have to create content. So I can help you, so I can serve you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. Well, so I wanted to let everybody know that Jade has just started doing some volunteer work for the boosters. And if you look on our most recent post, so Jade's using Reels. I have never used them. So I'm like, no, please do Reels, because I don't know how to do those and I've never done them. And so she did a reel of it was like a really experiential reel. So it's like going to CHOP, getting lunch, going to Cathedral Park. And one thing I really appreciate your Reels is that you're really good at editing.
Oh, thanks.
Like it's nice and short. Like it gives me the entire experience, but it's super short. So my attention span kept on. Yeah. Plus, I have envy of your picnic blanket. You all have to go and see this beautiful, like the colors are just so perfect. And it literally made me want to go have that exact experience. Aww. You know, that was so cool. So thank you for taking that on. And so you guys will want to tune in on Sundays, because it's going to be Sunday, like these little Sunday in St. John's reels. They'll be so cool. Well, so you went to CHOP in Cathedral Park. Are there any other businesses you want to shout out?
I mean, I love Treybone. My dog loves Treybone. I think that might be the next reel.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that you and I kind of talked, and if there's businesses in St. John's that want a reel to like maybe contact you, I'll stop in. We can figure that all out. But yeah, if you're a business in St. John's and want a reel, I am here to help get the word out about you.
Ooh, yeah, businesses, you guys, that'll be fun. You get your own reel, and they're real. They're very cool. I always do that. I can't not do that. It's really like, it's so close to like being dad jokes, but you know.
I mean, the puns are there. They're already there.
I love it. Well, so are you doing anything fun today? Are you getting out and about in the district today? Or are you staying in because of the rain?
I mean, I have another Instagram live at 1:30.
Okay.
So I'm really putting myself out of my comfort zone here. But yeah, I'll probably go get a coffee at Sparrow. Their vanilla latte, chef's kiss.
I haven't had that there. I will get that today because I have to go over there today, and I was wanting to get one of their, I don't know if they have them this week, but they did little cookies that look like Le Creuset, like pots. Oh, I know. Cute. I know. Unbelievable. I was I need one of those.
Sparrow, you're doing a great job. Keep up that I don't know what's in that vanilla latte, but I have to limit myself to one a week.
I will try it, and I will post it so you will know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, this was so fun.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for doing this with me. And hopefully everybody enjoyed it. Hopefully it wasn't too much shop talk, but I think social media is interesting, and because there's no way to get away from it in your life. It is just part of our lives now. And you don't have to like hate it. You just have to make it work for you. So if there's something you're hating about it, move away from that thing and just do the thing that brings you joy.
Yeah, totally. Because again, you're that resonates with the people consuming it. If they
That's
know
right.
you are not loving what you're throwing out there, they are not loving what you're throwing down.
Yeah,
So,
it is very transparent. That vibe comes right through there.
yeah.
If it feels like, boy, this was a chore to get out, it's like, ugh, that's not hitting me right. You know, like move on.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, Jade, thank you.
Yeah, totally.
I look
I'm
forward
happy
to
to
talking
be
to you
here.
soon.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.